John Wayne, the iconic face of the American Western, was not just a film legend, he was a deeply opinionated, often combative man behind the scenes. Known for his larger-than-life presence and conservative views, Wayne didn't shy away from speaking his mind, whether on camera or off. Throughout his life and career, he formed friendships and rivalries in equal measure. But among those he clashed with, there was one person he reportedly hated more than anyone else. While it's difficult to pinpoint a single individual with absolute certainty, one name consistently surfaces in stories of Wayne's personal contempt: Marlon Brando. John Wayne and Marlon Brando could not have been more different. Wayne represented the traditional American male tough, stoic, patriotic. Brando, on the other hand, was the poster child of the rebellious new wave of Hollywood actors. He was methodical, introspective, progressive, and politically outspoken. Their personalities, acting styles, and worldviews clashed like two opposing fronts in a culture war that played out in Hollywood's golden age. The most infamous moment of tension between the two came during the 1973 Academy Awards. Brando, awarded Best Actor for The Godfather, boycotted the ceremony and sent a Native American activist, Soshan Littlefeather, to decline the Oscar on his behalf, protesting Hollywood's portrayal of Native Americans. Wayne, a staunch defender of traditional American values and someone who had spent his entire career playing frontier heroes, took personal offense. Accounts from that night suggest Wayne had to be restrained from physically confronting Littlefeather backstage. Whether exaggerated or not, the moment symbolized how much Wayne's dislike for Brando had boiled over not just as a personal rivalry, but as a reflection of his disdain for everything Brando stood for. But Wayne's hatred of Brando was about more than a single incident. He saw Brando as emblematic of a changing Hollywood he no longer recognized, one filled with actors who questioned authority, rejected patriotism, and blurred moral lines. Wayne was a firm believer in the black-and-white code of right and wrong, especially in how stories were told on screen. He didn't appreciate Brando's method acting, or his tendency to bring political statements into his performances and public appearances. Brando, for his part, didn't seem to respect Wayne either. He reportedly saw him as a relic of a bygone era, overly macho, stiff, and unwilling to acknowledge the complexities of real-world issues. Their mutual disdain was never directly confrontational in public, but it simmered in the comments they made and the choices they took as artists. What makes Wayne's hatred for Brando particularly compelling is that it wasn't just personal, it was symbolic. Brando represented everything Wayne feared Hollywood was becoming: critical of America, sympathetic to counterculture, and driven by emotion rather than traditional values. For Wayne, Brando's success was an affront to the kind of stories he had helped build for decades. This deep divide reflected a broader cultural rift in America. During the 1960s and 70s, as society began to question old norms and push for civil rights, artistic freedom, and anti-war sentiments, Wayne dug his heels in. His hatred for Brando was a manifestation of his resistance to change and a refusal to accept the diminishing role of the all-American hero. In the end, John Wayne's intense dislike for Marlon Brando went beyond professional rivalry, was ideological. He saw Brando as a threat not just to his career, but to the country and the culture he cherished. And while many disagreed with Wayne's views, there's no denying his sincerity. He stood firm in his beliefs, even when the world around him was rapidly shifting. If there was one man John Wayne truly hated more than anyone, it wasn't a criminal or a critic. It was Marlon Brando, the ultimate symbol of a changing world Wayne could never quite understand or accept.